Hi, welcome back to Synth Stuff. I'm Scott. Today we've got an early Christmas gift from Roland for the GAIA 2 coming up. The GAIA 2 came out just over a year ago. When Roland brought it out, it was $799. A little bit expensive for this synth, but it does do a lot and it did sell quite well. I bought it at $799 and I was happy with the purchase. A few months later, Roland actually dropped the price to $599, where it has remained more or less since then. I think the actual list price is still $799. Just every retailer says it's permanently on sale for $599. I haven't seen it for more than $599 for at least 6 months. So pretty much the price of this synthesizer is $599 in the US. It is a virtual analog synthesizer. It actually has two separate engines. It has the native GAIA engine in it, and it also has a Zen Core Lite, or a virtual analog. In the internal MIDI documentation, they call it the GAIA 2 engine and the analog engine. They actually call it an analog engine in their own documentation, and you can load models into it, and the GAIA 2 comes with an SH-101 model loaded into it with a bunch of SH-101 patches loaded in the patch area. Now, I have done an entire full review on the GAIA 2, and I will put a link to that up in the corner of the screen here. If you want to see that, I will go over all the different features of the GAIA 2, and I play all the factory patches in it so you can get an idea of the sounds that this thing can create, including I go through the SH-101 patches. It has 256 preset patches, and just like the original GAIA, those preset patches cannot be changed. They are hardwired into the GAIA. There's 256 of them, and you access those by pressing this preset button here, and then you can change which preset you're playing by hitting these preset buttons here. There's also a user section that has another 512 patches in there, and if I remember correctly, I think there was 64 patches loaded in there from the factory. So A1 through A8 is preloaded from the factory with sounds in there. So if I go into A1, A1, there we go. Yeah, so there is. There are 64 patches loaded into there, which leaves you with all the rest of the user area free. And you also have a separate patch storage area for the loaded module, which in this one is the SH-101, obviously. So talking about the user patch section, so the reason for this video is that Roland has released 3 new sound packs for the GAIA 2, and they are free. So each of those has 32 patches in them, and they're pretty good. So if you have a GAIA 2, I would encourage you to go to Roland Cloud and download those. I'll have a look at that here. If you look, you open up Roland Cloud, and then you want to make sure that you are set to hardware synthesizers. You're going to scroll down until you see the GAIA 2. If you click on GAIA 2, then you're going to see these. You have 3 of them. There's one called Essentials, and there's one Psy Trance, and then the other one is this Textures, which is supposed to be. So each of those, you want to download those, and they're free. Then you're going to take a USB stick, just like this one here, and you're going to put it into your computer and plug that in. And actually, before we go any further, I do want to talk about the firmware in here, because if you see my stick here on the screen, I actually have a firmware file on there from April. And the reason for that is because there was an important firmware upgrade that Roland released for this back in April of this year. If you recall my original review, I had problems with the motional pad in that it was constantly going into calibration mode. It would be sitting there and all of a sudden it would go calibrating, and then it kept doing that over and over again. I actually warrantied my original GAIA 2, went back to Sweetwater, they sent me this one. This one was still doing the exact same thing. So at that point I thought, this is either a systemic problem with the hardware or it's software. Turns out it was software because Roland issued a firmware update that fixed that problem back in April. So if you have not installed the firmware update for the GAIA 2, I encourage you to do that because it will fix the problem where the motional pad is constantly going to calibration mode. We want to make sure that that stick is actually formatted in the GAIA, not in your computer. And you'll see it has a Roland folder, and underneath the Roland folder, there's a sound folder. And once you've unpacked those files you downloaded from Roland, you'll see the SDZ files, and that's where you want to copy those, is into the Roland sound folder, then eject the USB stick. So we've put that stick into the memory slot. We're going to hit Menu, and then we're going to want to go to File, and we're going to go Import, and you'll see all these listed here. So this is my original one here that was already on the stick. So here's the 3 that I've just put in, 1, 2, and 3. So if we hit Essential, we're going to press the Enter, and you can see here's all the sounds, and there's 32 of them in there. And you can change, if you want to only import some of them, you can press Menu, which will check or uncheck it, but we're going to import all of them. So we'll just press Enter on that, and then you can see it's going to pick the first empty slot that you have to put it in. And in mine, the first empty slot is C51 because I've already loaded these in here. But on yours, if it's come like this from the factory and you haven't used anything in the user section, it's going to pick it. Probably B1 will be the first, but you don't have to worry about this because it will automatically pick wherever the first empty slots are for you to install it. So then you just hit Enter. It will then install that, and then you go back and do the same thing for each of these one at a time, and it will load all those into your synthesizer, and then you're ready to go. Okay, so now that we've loaded the sounds into the GAIA 2, we can go into the user sections. We want user, and remember I started loading them at B1, so we'll go into Shift B to go to, oops, what are we doing here? So we'll go Shift B for B, and then we'll go 1, 1. So here's our first sound from the first sound pack, which is a dry super saw. Fat harmonic key. This is the Essentials pack, so it's kind of like some everyday use synthesizer sounds. So there's some really great sounds in there, and just like I did on my original GAIA 2 video, I am going to run through all the new sounds, and there are 96 of them in the 3 packs, and at the end of this video, I'll go through every single patch so you can hear what each of them sounds like. But these sounds, which normally Roland would actually sell these, and usually their sound packs go for about $30, these sounds are actually decent. They're really good sounds, especially for free, and in terms of making this a more valuable instrument, simply because it gives you more to start with in terms of presets. And I will admit, when I have a sound in mind that I want for a song, or I'm looking for inspiration, I will very often, in fact almost always, go into presets and just start playing through until I hear something that I like. Most often what happens then is I will start tweaking it and changing it the way I like it. But having this wide array of amazing presets in there that you can use to start from really makes it so much more of a creative instrument for me. And at a $599 price, this synthesizer with the SH101 built into it and the GAIA 2 engine, which I really, really like, tons of effects. I think there's 52 effects in this thing. This is really a no-brainer, and if you are looking for a do-it-all synthesizer, it's great for beginners because it has an almost knob-per-function controllability on here. You've got wavetable functionality, you can learn synthesis, and you can grow with this. And because it has a screen, it got the emotional pad, this is really, to me, This is one of my favorite synthesizers. When I go somewhere, this is the one that I take with me. If I'm going up to the cabin and I just want something to play with, I take this. And you could absolutely use this on stage as your sole synthesizer. It's lightweight and small. It's easy to transport around. Really, this is a fantastic synthesizer. There are some limitations in terms of workflow, but unless you are heavy into synthesis, you are not going to bump up against those, at least for a very long time. And if you're interested in one of these, I will put links to it in the description below. It is an affiliate link, helps me out if you use that to buy the synthesizer. So if you are considering buying one of these, definitely use one of my links in the description below. If you have more questions or you want more information or a bigger demonstration of what this synthesizer can do, definitely check out my other review, which I'll again put a link to in the description below, where I review this in depth as to what it works, how the engine works, all the controls, and all of the sounds that it can create. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. And hey, please subscribe to my channel, it really helps me out. And now I'll let you have a sample listen to all 96 of the new patches in these 3 sound packs from Roland.